Okay, we are live. Hello there to all my followers of darkness, shadow scavengers, and villain aficionados. Welcome, bienvenue once again to the Shadow Council episode 41. To be more precise, here I am, once again your host, Lord of Shadows, with the fantastic, glorious return of one of our most favorite Shadow Council members. Please give a big applause to the one and only Fulcrum. Great to
Hi,
great.
everybody.
Yeah, it's great to see great to see you again, mate. Really great to see you once more on the Shadow Council episodes. Oh man! And this time, this is something that basically I wanted to discuss for actually ever since it was first announced. But yeah, here we are, guys. The legends are true. All the rumors, speculations that we had, all over the years, ever since the sequel trilogy, if I have to be more precise. Yeah, here it is, guys. Kathleen Kennedy is out, and the new leadership has taken command of Lucasfilm. More precisely, the one and only, the man we all believe in, Dave Filoni himself, and of course, alongside another co-CEO. I'm gonna butcher her name. Simon Brenner or something. Basically joining the leadership alongside our very own Dave Filoni. So here we are, guys. Basically, this is going to be the overall topic of our conversation, as I like to call it, a new dawn for Star Wars, with a question mark, of course. Now, basically, the very first thing I just want to start with is of course, the overall legacy of Kathleen Kennedy and the new leadership. So let's go step by step. So since this being your glorious return once again to the Shadow Council Fulcrum, I'm going to give you the honor to talk first. So basically, what were your overall reaction of like Kathleen Kennedy actually finally leaving and with the new leadership?
I mean, I was kind of surprised. I mean, I knew it was going to happen. And, everybody for years upon years, when we were literally talking about that right before the stream, was like, please let Dave Filoni take over. Please let Dave Filoni take over. And he's finally taken over, along with, I apologize. I forget her name as well. Well, I can't really pronounce her name either, but the both of them are going to hopefully take Star Wars into a new direction, but also you got to give props to Kathleen Kennedy. She's been steering this ship for better and for worse. I know the fandom has been extremely divisive. Personally, we've had a decent time, especially with the sequel trilogy and stuff like that. We're like one of half the Star Wars fandom that actually loves The Last Jedi, which I won't open that can of worms because that's a whole can of worms. And, obviously Kathleen Kennedy has a heck of filmography even before taking over Lucasfilm. And she's just done a lot of wonders as far as that goes and as far as the Lucasfilm goes. But recently, in my personal opinion, as far as the announcements and stuff like that, it hasn't really been going anywhere. This new kind of like expanding the Star Wars universe, like they'll put like stuff out there and there, and I don't want an overabundance of TV shows and movies and stuff like that, but also too, like I just want to see something that's like semi-consistent, that wants to keep me coming to the franchise, but also too, I just want some good stories, and I'm pretty sure that's what you want too. So that's my overall thoughts at the moment, and I'll take it back to you, Lord of Shadows.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, I mean, Kathleen Kennedy leaving basically leaving the throne as president of Lucasfilm. I mean, this is something that, I mean, let's be honest. It's been the most favorite subject for the toxic Star Wars fans. I mean, like ever since like the sequel trilogy, like basically going like basically going on like down with Kathleen Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy needs to leave. Like her time is up. She needs to go, and so on and so forth, etc., etc. But honestly, look. To be honest, like I said, I had a feeling that basically the time for her to leave Lucasfilm was coming, 100%. And I'm just simply like for her to just simply move on to other projects, to other places and things like that. But also, I think like I had this feeling that she was basically how can I put the basically I think like she I kind of started noticing that she's kind of getting the same pressure as, for example, George Lucas had at the time when he was doing the prequels and everything. So I think like so that's why I was saying that I was kind of like had this feeling that she actually is gonna resign as the president of Lucasfilm. Like I say, it was only a matter of time, because I don't know, there was something. Like I said, with the whole toxicity and everything, I kind of had this feeling that it was kind of getting to her in a way. So I think like her basically leaving, at the beginning of 2026 and everything, I think that was the best thing she could ever do. But I will say this right here, right now. Look, just like you said, Fulcrum, like her career as a producer, it is out of this world. Like she worked with the greats ever since the beginning of her career. For example, like Jurassic Park. With Indiana Jones. I think she was also involved with E.T. as well. She produced a lot of like really iconic, legendary movies in her career and everything. So she was like one hell of a producer. Like no one can take this away from her. Absolutely, like she knew her stuff. But even though her being a great producer, I will say this: she wasn't an absolute CEO of Lucasfilm. Like, I mean, look, I was never one of those people who loves bashing Kathleen Kennedy for nothing. Like out of nowhere. Like absolutely not. Like I ever since she was in charge of Lucasfilm, I always respected her work, her vision. Like one thing we cannot take it away is that she always tried her best. Basically with the cards that she's been dealt with and everything, she always tried to basically roam the ship as much as as the best she could and everything. So yeah, I mean, like, look, was she a perfect boss of Lucasfilm? No, but did she try her best? Did the majority of her career at Lucasfilm were like successes? Of course they would. She gave some really good projects when she was on board. The profits were pretty good so far. Yeah. So I would say this, overall, she did a lot of things for Lucasfilm that I think like she should be proud of. No matter whatever those bastards would say about her. But I will say this, like with almost every CEO, of course, you're going to do great decisions, but there are also bad decisions as well. I think I would say I want to ask you the same question to you later on, but I think one of the biggest flaws is that she was. I would say she kind of became notorious of announcing projects and then basically 90% of them never happened. I feel like she when she would try to announce projects especially through Star Wars Celebration, I think I would say she was overhyping things. If that's if that's the kind of word I have to use, she was always overhyping things, like basically saying all right, who's the top director now? Oh, Patty Jenkins. Oh yeah, with the Wonder Woman movies. Oh great, we're gonna give her Rogue Squadron. Who's the another great director? Oh, Taika Waititi, of course. Thor Ragnarok, Jojo Rabbit. We're gonna give him his own Star Wars movie. James Mangold, absolutely, the new Dawn of the Jedi. And so on and so forward. And basically, with all these announcements, of course, you know, all of us, you know, going like, yay, you know, they all fell into the water. You know,
Though I really want to see Rogue Squadron.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. If Patty Jenkins ever did Rogue Squadron, I'm really hoping that she's gonna base a story from like the Adventures of Rogue Squadron books, because they are really, really good. You know, and I really hope, if she ever does that, I really hope she's going to introduce the character of Ysain Izzard in her movies. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with her character.
I've heard the name.
Yeah, basically, you know, she was the director of Imperial Intelligence. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
You know, yeah. I mean, she usually was kind of like the main villain of the Rogue Squadron stories. You know, and for me personally, she was always one of my favorite Imperials. You know, so yeah, I would really hope that if Rogue Squadron actually happens, and it's been ups and downs since the beginning, but if it does happen, I really hope that she's going to introduce this character. But yeah, like I mean, I don't know. I mean, like what do you think about Kathleen Kennedy's flaws? Like, you know, I think like with the for me personally, her over announcing things that, like I said, 90% didn't happen. I mean, look at it, like, for example, the TV shows and movies. Like, for example, you know, the same thing. Donald Glover. Oh yeah, he's a top actor now. We're gonna give him Lando. Never happened. Taika Waititi, never happened.
We're waiting for that. I'm still waiting for a Lando show.
Well, one thing I can tell you, it looks like he delivered the script for Lando to Lucasfilm.
Oh, that's gonna be so cool.
Yes, that's so far what I've heard of. But you know, we should see what happens next. I don't know. I mean, for me personally, those are kind of like my biggest flaw in her as being the president of Lucasfilm. I mean, what do you think her overall flaws were?
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I talked about that briefly too, and also too, as far as like I said, I overall enjoyed the sequel trilogy for the most part. I really did not care for. I know you really like The Rise of Skywalker. I did not personally, but that is a whole different conversation. But overall, as far as the planning goes with that, and I think it would kind of go to kind of what we're talking about with that trilogy. There wasn't an overall plan with that. It was kind of like kind of throwing darts at the wall and seeing what sticked. And I know they had like a plan with started off with J.J. Abrams, go to Rian Johnson, and then topped off with Colin Trevorrow.
Yeah.
But they didn't really have like an overall plan for that trilogy. And honestly, it would have been cool to see George Lucas's ideas or something like that, or maybe even have him as a producer in that. And I really hope, I don't know what the father of Star Wars is up to right now, but I really hope, before, I know he's a little bit older and stuff like that, but I really hope that Dave Filoni can get him as like a producer or some type of consultant on a project at some point. That would be really cool to see.
I mean, one of the things I will say that is really ridiculous right now is that, people basically now, even today, begging, George Lucas to return, in Star Wars and everything. First and foremost, okay, I just want to say this right off the bat. Okay, the reason why, for example, he sold Lucasfilm, the reason why he wants nothing to do with this franchise anymore, I'm sorry to say this, but it's all the fans' fault. I know. Because, just remember let's just call them the dark ages of the prequel trilogy. All the hate, all the toxicity that he received, because right now, when someone was asking him about Star Wars, usually he will always say the same thing, which is basically, hey, I'm done with this franchise. Like I don't want to have nothing to do with them, do with this anymore. You know, like even though I will admit, Dave Filoni did say that he still kind of like has conversations with him. That's at least what he said.
Yeah.
You know, so that's still something. You know, but overall, like, look, for some people hoping that he's gonna return, I personally, it will never happen.
I'm in that mindset too, and like I don't have that. You know me, like I love Star Wars, and I don't have that toxic mindset, and I understand he was pretty burnt out after that, but you never know. You never know what's gonna happen. Like we never thought that Dave Filoni would officially take over, and there we go.
Yeah, absolutely. But I will say this: I think if like George Lucas went with his sequel trilogy, like his overall ideas and everything, I have this feeling people will still hate him.
Yeah.
Even if they're made, like written, and maybe even I don't know. I wasn't sure, like with all the information I gathered from his canceled sequel trilogy. I'm not sure actually if he was supposed to direct them as well. But I do read somewhere that he actually wrote the script for like all the three movies. But I will tell you this: all the information I gathered. I mean, personally, I like his ideas. I really dig them. You know, not simply with Darth Maul and Darth Talon returning as kind of like, Darth Maul returning and his introduction to Darth Talon, and being the main villains of this like Star Wars trilogy, and also kind of like concentrating on the overall mythology of the Force and like the criminal underworld and everything. Personally, I like those ideas. I know I really did, but I can guarantee you that if those movies were made and basically, let me put it this way: if those movies were made as the actual sequel trilogy of Star Wars, and basically throwing the ones that we know in a corner, I can tell you again, people will still hate him because there's a lot of things that George Lucas would have done that a lot of people don't agree with what he would have done, basically.
I know, and Star Wars fans are never truly happy. Like they haven't been happy since the original trilogy.
I mean, that's what I was trying to. That's actually also I was talking about like with a few of my friends. Star Wars has been controversial since the beginning, since the original trilogy. I mean, The Empire Strikes Back. People look at it the same way as they looked at, for example, the Attack of the Clones or The Last Jedi. They were looking at it the same way. They didn't like the change of tone, being dark, being more adult, and not as much as colorful as for example, New Hope or Star Wars back then was, So that was the first thing. And then we go back to Return of the Jedi, which was again colorful. And what the Return of the Jedi had? The Ewoks. The biggest element, or should I say the biggest controversial topic in the movie, just like in the prequels, was Jar Jar Binks, which is, by the way, a character that I still love. I don't give a rat's ass what people think about him. Like, I love Jar Jar Binks, and I will say this: I love the Ewoks as well.
You don't mess with Jar Jar, you don't mess with the Ewoks.
Yeah, I mean, I love. I don't know if you've ever seen this video, but there's a video about Kevin Smith talking about Star Wars, and he was talking like the hatred that George Lucas basically had for the prequels and everything, and I love his overall point of view of like when people are going like, oh, fucking Jar Jar, fucking Jar Jar, and basically Kevin Smith is like, oh, fucking Ewoks then, and he's like, oh, you're right. Like you're like, okay, fucking Jar Jar. When I'll say, well, fuck the Ewoks then. I
don't know. It's just a whole can of worms when it comes to the fandom and what they want, what they don't want, and I just gave up a long time ago.
Yeah, but I will say this: a lot of the things that were released under her command, basically on Lucasfilm, I will tell you, I will say right now, for with a lot of people, agree to disagree. I don't think everything was awful. I don't think everything was awful that was released under her, because like besides Rogue One and Andor, uh, there's a lot of other stuff that was released under her that was like really great. Like for example, Clone Wars season 7, Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, the Underworld, the Empire. Like those are really
Visions.
great things. Star Wars Visions, exactly. Basically, her own version of Matrix, mini movies. Or no, actually, how was it called? Oh yeah, Animatrix. Yeah, basically, Star Wars Visions was like her own version of Animatrix. Which again, great idea. Now, also a lot of people are crapping on the show, but like for example, Ahsoka season 1 for me personally was great. Absolutely great. And I will even go as far as say, I don't know if people will love to hang me or kick my ass or shoot me for this, or even castrate me. But I'll be honest. I really, really like The Acolyte as well. There, I said it. I don't care. Whatever people are complaining, which for me was really, really not deserved at all, just like hatred for Kathleen Kennedy in general. But I also really, really loved the Acolyte. There, I said it. I mean, the overall hatred that Kathleen Kennedy was given, like, is completely not deserved. I mean, look, do you have some issues with her as a president of Lucasfilm? Okay, sure, but at least be civilized about it. Be democratic. Not simply just barging there and basically roar at her, with all your might, just out of nothing. But
that's how democracy dies, with thunderous applause.
And you couldn't put it more correctly than that. Absolutely, yeah. But overall, I think I believe honestly that even after everything we said, I feel like Kathleen Kennedy left a pretty well made legacy. With while she was president of Lucasfilm. I mean, what do you think about that?
No, I definitely agree with it. And, I have some other kind of, not like negative thoughts, but definitely some criticisms on it. But overall, like, she was the right person at the time to kind of get it going and to get Star Wars back into the zeitgeist. And say what you want about the sequel trilogy, The Force Awakens, it got Star Wars into a whole new level, into kind of like a religion type of just this. I mean, it's always been big, but it just got pushed to the heights that it is now. And even if there's not like anything that's like big that's come out, like any big shows, TV shows within the last like few years, big year or so, but like it's huge. And she did what she needed to do, and now hopefully she'll push the reins back over to Dave Filoni, and
dramatic pause, everybody. Linwood Brennan. I know how you feel.
And Linwood Brennan. And we both talked about too how it's an extremely similar situation to the DCU. And
yes, exactly.
and we both agree. And we both agreed that the DCU is up to a really good start so far, right?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I'm really hoping that they'll do the same thing with Lucasfilm and Star Wars. And by the way, I did want to ask you something.
Go
Do
ahead.
you think, obviously Star Wars is Lucas's film's main priority. However, do you think that Filoni would try some other projects like from other IP like Indiana Jones or or anything like that? Like
I mean,
try to do something new with them.
I know that under Kathleen Kennedy there was like talks of like different like Indiana Jones projects. Like, I mean, if I remember correctly, there was even a talk of like doing like an animated series about the adventures of Indiana Jones, like that was set between the movies, and that was basically canceled. Which for me personally, it's a darn shame. But going back to your question, like, do I think like Dave Filoni will try to go into, for example, the world of like Willow or Indiana Jones or things like that? Honestly, I don't know. Like, look, his forte was always Star Wars. Like that was like always his stronger side. Seeing him actually go into different IPs, like like we talked about, like Indiana Jones and, as I mentioned, Willow as examples. I don't know. I don't think he would. I don't think he would. I think like he will stick only to Star Wars.
Though, I think they should do Indiana Jones comics.
Honestly, I could see it. I could see it, but like I would say the more like special editions or something.
Yeah, expand the lore a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I meant. Like, it's a real shame that they didn't do the Indiana Jones animated series, honestly, because doing stories that are set between the movies, for me personally, it's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Because just like you said, expanding the lore. Yeah, but definitely. I mean, I will say this. Like, first and foremost, when they first announced Dave Filoni is going to take charge, I was like, oh, wait a minute, he's going to be like the overall commander in chief of Lucasfilm, like basically handling creativity and marketing, because I was like, is that a little bit too much for him? And then basically I realized when I basically was reading the articles that with him is going to join forces with Lin Brennan, who's going to do the marketing side, the finances of Lucasfilm, which for me personally, which for me personally, going in the same maneuver as, for example, James Gunn and Peter Safran are for DC Universe. Honestly, it's a smart move. I think it's a very, very smart move because let's be honest, Dave Filoni, when it comes to creativity, he is the master when it comes to creativity and storytelling. But the marketing, the financing side, not really. So it's actually it's actually a really wise decision that it basically put someone who actually is an expert in the overall marketing of Lucasfilm. Let's put that way. And also, I'll be honest, I never heard of her before, Lin Brennan, but after reading a little bit of her records, basically being with Lucasfilm ever since The Phantom Menace, that is impressive. That is absolutely impressive. So, and from seeing some of the pictures, and I even actually seen some of the interviews with her, and honestly, I can actually see Dave Filoni and Lin Brennan actually have a pretty good combo together. What do you think?
I agree. I really don't have a lot to say on that, but obviously we both believe the potential. We're not sure where it's going to go. And we're not sure if it's like what type of movies they're gonna do. I hope they, when they started, one of my flaws about the and I'm not gonna dig into the flaws. But I do want to say this more as a precaution than as me being like an unhappy fan, One of my flaws about kind of how Lucasfilm was probably for like the first 5-6 years or so after Force Awakens came out, they were just piling on content upon content when it came to Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it was exhausting.
Yeah.
And
I mean, sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, you're fine. It's just, and that's kind of like, it made me just really exhausted as a fan. I had to take a little bit of a break because of it. But I'm slowly kind of getting back into it, as you see. And I really hope, like when it comes to the movies and stuff like that, I definitely want to see more movies, but they definitely need to be an event, something to build up to. I'd say every 3 years or so, and then maybe some TV shows in between.
Well, the one thing, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, I mentioned that at the beginning, that one of the biggest issues I had with Kathleen Kennedy was always like basically over announcing projects and overhyping things. Like we said, with Rangers of the New Republic never happened. Lando never happened. Rogue Squadron never happened. Then the Taika Waititi, there were so many things going on with his Star Wars movie. James Mangold, Dawn of the Jedi, same thing. Rian Johnson's like his own Star Wars trilogy, that also was announced, never happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, I feel like the mistake that Kathleen Kennedy did, which again I mentioned before, is that basically she was grabbing actors and directors who were like basically cool at in a period of time, basically with like other hits that they did and everything. And I think that that's a big mistake. But so personally, I believe and I'm hoping that when Dave Filoni and Lin Brennan, when they're gonna announce new upcoming Star Wars movies, like I really, really hope, and I think with Dave Filoni on board, I think like the overall announcements, I think this time are going to be on point. Let's just put it that way, because Dave Filoni, as a creator, I mean, he always was very calculative. He was always very strategic when it comes to like which like certain projects, when they're going to be released, like basically what type of storytelling and everything. Like I feel like, but just with the overall announcement of movies in general, he was always a very not with movies, but TV shows. He was always very strategic when it comes to announcements. Like he never overhyped. He always gave basic informations and also projects that have like the biggest chance to actually being made, basically. So I think like onwards, I think with Dave Filoni and his announcement when it comes to movies, because definitely Star Wars needs a comeback in theaters, absolutely. I mean, we didn't have a movie ever since 2019, so it's been a long time. Yeah, so I do believe with Dave Filoni announcing, I think like we're gonna have movies that I think they will actually happen. I don't think he's gonna overhype it as Kathleen Kennedy did, because that's actually one of the strongest suits for Dave Filoni. One more thing, one of his strongest suits was always presentation. He was always like, he was always in. He was always connected with the fans. He always did everything with enthusiasm, with energy. He basically had the gift of being a showman. Let's put it that way. Kathleen Kennedy, she was more of a producer. Like she was like, hello everybody. Okay, we're gonna have this movie, this TV show. Like he basically did announcements. Like for example, she was talking to her shareholders. I mean, if you understand what I'm talking about it, but. Yeah, so I think with Dave Filoni, I think we're going to be in good hands when it comes to announcements in general.
Yeah, cross my fingers.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And honestly, with Lin Brennan, with him, because one of the problems that a lot of people have with them being co-CEOs, basically, is like I said, the overall chemistry between them. But I honestly, with the type of like businesswoman that Lin-Manuel Miranda is and Dave Filoni, I feel like their relationship is going to be pretty solid. I'm not saying he's going to be perfect like Peter Safran and James Gunn. I'm not saying that, but I think it's going to be solid. And my theory is that she actually might be even be the one to kind of like push Dave Filoni to kind of like, do projects that are basically more with like, the excitement of Star Wars fans. Like let me give you an example. Like, for example, a lot of people have been craving for like, the Knights of the Old Republic, basically. And honestly, I can see Lin-Manuel Miranda maybe kind of like pushing Dave Filoni to kind of like, greenlight a Knights of the Old Republic, movie, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah, and before we go further, we have a comment from one and only FRC. Great to see you, my friend, once again. This is massive for Star Wars. I think it has struggled to find the vision on how to balance TV shows and movies together, which is, I do agree. But let's see what happens. We need Star Wars back in the cinema where it belongs. Oh, absolutely. And I do hope that The Mandalorian Grogu is going to restart all that. I really do hope. Yeah. So, I mean, with everything I just said, I mean, what are your opinions?
I pretty much agree with you there. And, my kind of catchphrase as far as, just life in general is whatever happens. And it's like kind of the same thing with this. We're both very hopeful. We both love Star Wars. We both love Star Wars since a very young age. And we want to see it succeed. So, if we think this duo that's going to be taken over is the right fit, then go on ahead. And, hopefully we'll get some good stories out of it. Maybe kind of say reboot the universe and not reboot like they're doing with like the DCU, obviously, because you can't just like reboot Star Wars from like, day one. I mean, because everybody would go in a riot, you would see pitchforks in the street. I mean, I would not be surprised. You know how Star Wars fans are, but
yeah,
like, like it's a new beginning in a way, and and I would love to see kind of like, and not everything can be a trilogy, but I just want to kind of have that feeling we got with The Force Awakens, with the prequels, and even with the original trilogy, just having that kind of special, just like big event, watching that title crawl and just be like, yeah, this is Star Wars and I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I absolutely do agree with you. Now, Star Wars being rebooted, I kind of doubt they're gonna do that. Yeah. But I kind of see where you're going with this, like, because I feel like what we're trying to say is that like basically for Dave Filoni and Lin-Manuel Miranda to kind of like expand the Star Wars universe outside the Skywalker saga. Did I say correctly?
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I mean, just look at Star Wars Legends, like, I mean, the overall expansion of the Star Wars universe for like not simply movies and TV shows, but like through comic books, novels, video games. They expanded the Star Wars universe so well and became so big that I'm really hoping that Dave Filoni and Lin-Manuel Miranda is going to do the same thing. Because honestly, look, I have nothing against the Skywalker saga. Absolutely. Like, I have nothing against that period. But I will agree that I think it's time to leave Skywalker saga behind and basically either go after the Rise of Skywalker, basically in a new timeline, to create a new saga, or we go back in the past. From like the High Republic all the way to the Old Republic. Or even like the Dawn of the Jedi, how the Jedi and the Sith Order were formed, all the way back, honestly. And I will tell you this, out of the Skywalker saga, I think for Dave Filoni and for her to start fresh, I would say this: the Old Republic is perfect because you have literally thousands and thousands of years. I wouldn't go with, I wouldn't, well, 10,000 years, it's a bit debatable, but you have thousands and thousands of years of so much storytelling you can do through comic books, cartoons, movies, live action TV shows and movies, like video games. You can do so much in the during the Old Republic. Not to mention bringing some of the Legends characters back. But of course, with a different storytelling. I mean, I would love to see. I don't know if you're familiar with this character, but like, I would love to see Darth Malgus from the Old Republic game back into canon.
I want to see Kyle Katarn.
Okay, yeah. Kyle Katarn, that's a good choice as well. Absolutely good choice. And I will give you another one, Revan. I mean, come on. I mean, who wouldn't love to see Revan, or even better, Revan and Darth Malak together? I mean, come on, But I will say this. Look, I think we talked about it before, and I think you also heard a little bit if you kind of like went around social media. When Dave Filoni was announced as the president, co-CEO of Lucasfilm, a lot of people at the same time were happy, but there were a lot of people who were afraid because they're afraid that, for example, with Dave Filoni in charge, are not going to see projects like Andor being made anymore, or Rogue One, or like it's always going to be the Skywalker saga, Ahsoka Tano, and things like that. I mean, look, Ahsoka Tano is Dave Filoni's baby. I mean, no doubt about that. He created her, of course. Mm-hmm. So there's no doubt. The creator loves his own character. I mean, which creator doesn't do that? But honestly, I doubt that Dave Filoni is going to be so close-minded. I mean, what do you think about this?
I really hope not. I mean, he's a fan himself. He got into essentially he got into the Clone Wars and stuff like that. You probably know the story. He was working as an animator on Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yep. And George Lucas was heard about him and heard how big of a Star Wars fan he was. So they met and they co-created the Clone Wars together. And that's kind of how he made his mark on this franchise, and that's why he's taking it over to this day.
But do you think if the fear that some Star Wars fans is either exaggerated or possible?
I went off topic, didn't I?
No, everything is fine. Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Like I said, it's just a part two of the same question, So, go for it.
Honestly, I don't have a problem with it. And, and even if it does, I mean, at least he's going to have a lot, there's going to be a lot more care with it. I mean, I'm not saying that Kathleen Kennedy didn't care about this franchise. I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth. But I definitely think, like I said, he's a fan. He understands what we want and everything. So I hope, it would be really cool to go to the past, but also too, I would like to see, kind of, well, not necessarily kind of the future. Well, yeah, we can see the future, but it's a big galaxy. It is, a galaxy far, far away. And, I imagine there are regions that we don't even know of and have nothing to do with the Empire, the Republic. Obviously there's probably the Jedi, like, you know, and so maybe he can produce a story and work with a director to make like a story that's like in those regions of the galaxy that's just really creative, something we've never seen before, and we can have fun with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look. I mean, also with the unknown regions and everything. Let's not forget we have different galaxies as well.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, he can easily do a project about like, oh, what they're called, that species. They're like wild warriors and conquerors, very well known in legends. Oh shit! What was their race called? Uh, Let me see. What they're called? I keep forgetting their name of the species. Uh, oh my god. Anyway, okay, Yuzan Wong.
Okay.
Yeah, so like very again, very fan favorite species from Star Wars. I mean, no wonder I always forget their names because it's a little bit complicated to pronounce it. But yeah, the Yuzhan Wong, like they're very infamous, like species of like alien conquerors that I think like in Legends they live in another galaxy. So you can easily, you know, if you want, you can do a project about them if you want. We basically add it in the same timeline as the Skywalker saga. I mean, I'm just giving it as an example, as an idea, you know. But honestly, like I think like the overall point of view that people have, this fear overall, you know, which is a bad sign because it leads to the dark side. Let's not forget about that. Yeah, so so yeah, I feel like the fear that people have, I think is a little bit exaggerated because like first and foremost, I disagree with a lot of people who say, "Oh, Dave Filoni doesn't have any experience at all. Like, you know, he should be just in animation." There's a reason why Kathleen Kennedy gave him a promotion, you know, as creative chief officer, basically. Like, there's a reason why she gave him a higher rank and keep him in an office to basically kind of give him some experience as an overall like leader in general and everything, like, you know. So, you know, and so Kathleen Kennedy already planned for a few years that Dave Filoni might be her successor. So I think like she was preparing him for this job.
Also,
But
just animation, like, do these animation is like one of the most like just hard, like kind of sweat inducing, just head rattle. Like, it is a really just hard working type of medium that you
Yep.
put your blood, sweat, and tears into. And it's not like, you know, and you know, I'm not like you know, live action, you know, is kind of the basis of, you know, movies, TV shows, etc. But also animation is such a big foundation on America, on, you know, pop culture and, you know, entertainment and stuff like that. And that's why they have a whole award show, the Annies, which by the way I just found out it's going to be happening February 28th this year on the Annie website. If anybody is interested, and no, this stream is not sponsored, just check out the Annies. It seems really cool. I'm going to check it out.
Don't miss it out, guys. Listen to the commercial break from Fulcrum. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like, for like, I feel like it's not fair that people are saying like, you know, oh, he should be just in animation, like that's where he's good at and everything. I mean, first and foremost, Dave Filoni, like, because people, the reason why I think it's stupid the way how people are thinking of Dave Filoni, because they're comparing him with James Gunn, for example. You know, and that's a little bit unfair. from my perspective. And I wouldn't go and add. I even gonna add this. Dave Filoni does have some experience. I mean, if some people think like animation doesn't count as experience, for me personally, I think they're wrong. And also he also he also had some directing experience in live action as well. I mean, check out like The Mandalorian, Ahsoka. I mean, like he had some experience in live action and directing. So I mean, okay, does he have like James Gunn? Absolutely not. But he's there. I mean, he so far I would say he had a little taste, but even that little taste can give you some experience.
No, I can see the like comparisons and contrasts and stuff like that, but also too, both of them have very like expansive amounts of experiences in their respective fields. James Gunn,
exactly.
With his directing, started out with Trauma, and then he worked as a writer with Scooby-Doo and stuff like that. Did some indie horror stuff, and then eventually made his way into the superhero industry. And then Dave Filoni with his animation, and then working his way up with the Star Wars franchise. So, both of them, they have, the same amount of experience, just in different ways.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, because some people don't consider his animation experience as experience. And I remember like there was one YouTuber, I'm not going to say his name, but there's one YouTuber who even criticized, for example, Ahsoka, the way how Dave Filoni wrote the episodes, as being cartoonish. And honestly, I strongly disagree. Because look, Ahsoka season 1, okay, it wasn't for everybody. Okay, we can all agree on that. We all love different things. We all have different tastes. That's okay. But you cannot deny that some of the dialogue in Ahsoka was really well written. And it was all Dave Filoni. I mean, he also gave us characters like Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati, which were really great characters in Ahsoka. So I don't know. I mean, so saying that he's writing, especially in live action, is cartoonish, honestly, it's unfair. And the only reason why people are saying this is because like the Mandalorian season 3 whole fiasco thing. I mean, look, the Mandalorian season 3 is, I will agree, is the weakest of the all 3 seasons. It is. But there's still some great moments in it. And also, it was done at the same time when Dave Filoni was doing Ahsoka. So, of course, naturally, Dave Filoni wasn't involved that much. But again, that's not something that you should lose your head, basically. Mm-hmm. So for me personally, like I said, I think like this is a little bit disrespectful to Dave Filoni, honestly. Because live action or animation, it doesn't matter. Like for me personally, like you said, and I totally agree with you. They both have experience in different areas, and Dave Filoni's area, he definitely gathered some experience.
Mm-hmm.
So people who are saying he doesn't have any experience or has little experience, I disagree. Absolutely. Because, for example, Star Wars Rebels, there's a lot of dialogue and storytelling in that show that it's not kiddish. I mean, let's be honest.
No, I mean, look, it starts out very, I don't want to say kiddish. I mean, it's definitely, it definitely was intended to be, towards a younger audience. And, everybody can watch it, but it can be pretty hardcore at times, for a kid show.
I mean, yeah. I mean, to take, for example, the Twilight the Apprentice episodes. I mean, there were some pretty dark moments in there.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I mean, Dave Filoni, when it comes to storytelling, and that's an episode that I strongly disagree. It felt like a kids cartoon, the Twin Sons episode where Maul and Obi-Wan Kenobi had the final confrontation.
That was just peak. That was
that
peak.
that just that scene alone, when they were having this conversation and they basically clashed with each other and just like free hits like a freaking samurai, he got Maul. That was a masterpiece.
By the way, I just want to, as a film fan, I didn't mean to interrupt you, by the way, but I just want to say, as a film fan, Dave Filoni needs to have more inspiration by samurai films like Akira Kurosawa. I want to see a kind of Jedi-like samurai film. Okay, go back to what you have to say.
No. I mean, honestly, I do agree with you because, I mean, think about it. There's especially during the Clone Wars, there's a lot of stuff that was inspired by especially Japanese, like old movies, you know. Even like, I mean, remember, we have a freaking episode, actually, we had a freaking arc that had to do with Godzilla, you know, which you think like, you know, which you think like, you know, it will never happen in Star Wars. And here you go. It did, you know. And also, speaking of negatives, I mean, the Mortis trilogy in the Clone Wars, that for me was also a masterpiece when it comes to storytelling. The Mortis trilogy, I thought it was a great idea. I really like the characters of the father, the son, and the daughter. You know, kind of like being the sort of like Force gods in a way. And let's not forget, that was George Lucas's idea. You know, so, and also let's not forget, which a lot of people had problems with today with this, but let's not forget, George Lucas, he retconned his own Star Wars a few times as well. You know, but anyway, again, a little bit of the subject, but the point I'm trying to say is that Dave Filoni definitely has experience. I don't care what people say about him. I think he definitely has experience in his own area, in his own elements and everything. But one thing I will say that Dave Filoni and James Gunn share, one thing they have in common is the love of the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
James Gunn loves DC Universe, just like Dave Filoni loves Star Wars. And also, let's not forget, James Gunn took a lot of inspiration for his DC Universe from Star Wars.
He literally said it himself that the way he's going to do it, it's not going to be like the MCU.
Exactly. And I always said it, and I'll say it again, that was a brilliant decision that he did. Brilliant decision.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to the thing, honestly, I think still today, I think that Dave Filoni, I don't think he will just simply stick to the Skywalker saga and Ahsoka Tano and elements like that. I personally believe that he's gonna go outside the Skywalker saga and tell different stories in different timelines. I think he will, because some people have been basically complaining that, you know, Dave Filoni doesn't like the Old Republic, and I'm like, time out. Do you have any idea, guys? Do you have any idea how many elements, from droids to ships to name drops to references? Do you have any idea how many elements did Dave Filoni use in his projects from the Old Republic? I mean, if that is not some level of appreciation, I don't know what it is. You know, so personally, I think we're definitely going to see him basically go outside his safe space. Let's put it that way. I mean, do you agree?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I think most of it, I think he's going to be Lin Brennan behind it. I think she's going to be the one who's going to like push him to basically do projects like this. Yeah. So, which kind of brings me to this, honestly, which is basically the overall future of Star Wars. Now, my first question to you is this. I want to see how powerful your imagination is. What kind of projects under Dave Filoni and Lin Brennan, what kind of projects do you wish to see in Star Wars?
Okay. So I gotta dig deep from my knowledge of the Star Wars universe. So
Go right ahead.
honestly, on top of my head, one of the projects and one of the characters that I want to see the most, and I think they kind of it was rumored or something like that. I would love to see a Dr. Aphra show
A
or
what?
some Dr. Aphra. I want to see her in
Yeah.
some type of, you know, and I'm not always like, and I really don't care about like comics or animation being adapted to live action anymore. Like I just want to have a good story, but Dr. Aphra in this kind of Indiana Jones type show or project or whatever would be like the most interesting type of Star Wars you can have. I mean, not interesting because, Star Wars is interesting no matter what, but also too, like it's definitely could be the most unique in like instead of like having, Star Wars is like known for like being like a big space opera, but this
Yeah.
can be like, a different type of adventure. And Dr. Aphra is like she's more of like an anti-hero slash, she's whatever the story needs. Like, she'll work for the Empire. She'll do her own thing, work with the Republic, etc., etc.
Honestly, I want to add to your Dr. Aphra idea. I mean, I can definitely see Dr. Aphra being kind of like a, because I actually read some of the comics of Dr. Aphra. I actually have them in my collection. Uh, I would definitely, I can see. I always kind of saw Dr. Aphra as kind of like a mixture of, and you may correct me if I'm wrong, but I can see her. But I always kind of saw her a mixture between Guardians of the Galaxy, Indiana Jones, and Tomb Raider.
That is exactly how she is.
And I can actually see. I mean, the comics did a lot when it comes to expanding on the character and her stories. But honestly, I wouldn't say no to a Doctor Aphra project. Absolutely, I wouldn't say no.
Yeah, she could like if they decide to do like in two, like she could show up in like other projects, depending on what it is. Like if if Filoni and John Favreau decide to do another project together, either with The Mandalorian or any other shows in that kind of mini universe within the larger Star Wars universe, then, she could probably show up, give her 2 cents, and then, come and go as she pleases. And, that's another one. Um, the other the others, I really can't think of a lot right now. However, like you said with the Old Republic, I want to see like anything that's kind of Jedi and Sith related and kind of be like essentially Lord of the Rings, but for Star Wars. Like you get like this just gigantic epic that you never thought you would see on the big screen. And just like, and normally, like, I'm not the biggest fan of like studios throwing all the money that they have, but when it comes to like a big, like, Knights of the New Republic or any type of Jedi show or something like that, they just need to throw all the money at it, all the money, and just and I guarantee fans will flock to the screens, even if some of them will come back as like keyboard warriors or something like that. Do what they usually do, be like, oh, they messed this up, oh, they messed that up, oh, those SJWs. just like shut the hell up. Excuse my language, but
Yeah, I'm worse than you, so don't worry.
yeah, I know. I just don't like swearing in a professional sense. But
Don't worry. Here you can swear as much as you want.
yeah, but you know, that's as far as like anything else, really, I mean, you know, I guarantee after we're done with this live stream, I'll have a lot more thoughts. I'm like, oh crap, I probably should have said that. Oh crap, I probably should have said this, but I don't want to give myself a headache. But honestly,
that's okay.
I want good stories. That's all I want. I want to like, you know, I'll always love Star Wars, but I want to like love actively watching it again and kind of like keeping up with this universe, because that's kind of like what I like about, you know, like all these shared universes and stuff like that, you know, for better or for worse. And you know, there are a lot, and you know, the cinematic universe, it is so like, it's not new anymore. Obviously, you know, we've had the MCU, we've had 3 different DCUs, and we've had like every other cinematic universe under the sun and its mother. And you know, but like, you know, one of the things that I liked about it is that I'm just like, it's this overall curiosity of like where these characters kind of end up, and kind of this overall shared universe, and I just want to see that. And you know, like we could wish for whatever, but you know, it's not our decision, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know? But you know, whatever they come up with, I hope it's good.
Yeah, I'm on board with you, and trust me, when it comes to the future of Star Wars, I have lots of things to say. But like when it comes to the overall future of Star Wars, like I said, one of my greatest wishes was like ever since I was actually first introduced to the Old Republic as an era. Like I really wish that you know, that the Old Republic could finally be explored, because like, you know, just like from Legends, even like for canon in Star Wars Celebration, like the last one in 2025, we had like an actual timeline revealed for like the entire Star Wars, all the way from like the dawn of the Jedi all the way to the sequel trilogy era, which is the New Republic era. We had everything revealed. And in that timeline, we had the Old Republic. So I was like, yes. I was like, finally, there's a chance that the Old Republic could finally be explored. And I do agree with you. Like, you know, they can give us Lord of the Rings type of level storytelling, you know, because like, I mean, Lord of the Rings, hey, you all in the Old Republic, you already have a Sauron, the Sith Emperor, Darth Tenebrae, who has been alive for thousands of years, cheating death. So there you go. You wanted a Sauron? You got one, you know, with Darth Tenebrae, aka the Sith Emperor, you know, and with that, you know, and again, the Knights of the Old Republic, like that's also a story that, first and foremost, Knights of the Republic for me is one of the greatest video games of all time. Not just not simply as a game, but also in Star Wars storytelling. It really has a great story, that game. So actually seeing it on the screen would be absolutely fantastic. Absolutely, you know, and of course it would be really great to see Revan and Darth Malak back, you know, to canon. So the one thing I do hope with the future of Star Wars, the one thing I do hope is that with like, I mean, there was a first try with the Acolyte, so, and we kind of got that, but I'm really hoping with Maul Shadow Lord, I'm really hoping that he's gonna push for like filmmakers and Dave Filoni to tell stories that are villain centric, where basically you don't have a main protagonist this time, but this time you have a main antagonist as the main character in a show, because one of the projects I always wanted to see, and there was like rumors going around and everything, but it was never confirmed. Probably fake news, but still, I would love to see a Darth Bane TV show. And honestly, I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I would love to see that in live action." Honestly, I would much more prefer to see it in animation. And basically, the Darth Bane series, you can easily go through Drew Karpyshyn's novels. Because Darth Bane, I believe you also know, he is one of the most historical Sith Lords of Star Wars, because he's the one behind the Rule of Two. And I think there'll be. I would love to see that story being told in canon. But besides that, just simply stories outside the Skywalker saga in general. I just want to see that. And I believe Dave Filoni is going to do that. I don't think he's just going to stick with Ahsoka and the Empire Rebellion and things like that. I don't think he's going to stick with that. I think he's going to be pushed out of the comfort zone. So and one thing I do also agree with you is that with the Old Republic, if you want more Jedi, Sith, the Force, and lightsabers, the Old Republic is perfect for that. Absolutely, And I mean, look. I'll say one thing that I personally think is the honest truth. I know a lot of people love, Rebellion, Rogue Squadron, Resistance, Scavengers, Bounty Hunters, the criminal underworld, and things like that. When it comes to Star Wars, But let's be honest, the main attraction for Star Wars, the main core of Star Wars, was always the Jedi, Sith, and the Force. Those are always the main core of Star Wars, and that's the thing that kind of I think a lot of people are more interested in. Now, do I think we're never going to see projects like Andor and Rogue One? Honestly, I think we will, because even though for Andor, Dave Filoni, maybe that wasn't his type of Star Wars. Even with that, I still think that's not enough for him to say nope, we're not gonna go with Andor anymore, or at least those types of stories. I think he will still be open to that. And honestly, the Star Wars universe is so ginormous that you can tell whodunit stories, mysteries, westerns, space opera, like you said, horror. You can even do horror in Star Wars. I guarantee you. For example, if you want a villain for a Star Wars horror story, well, I have one for you: Darth Nihilus, the Lord of Hunger. I mean, have you ever seen how he looks like? He would be perfect for a horror story.
Or do Scream, but with lightsabers. The Star Wars slasher.
Oh my god! Like a mutated Jedi, or like a rogue Jedi that went berserk or something. Yeah. I mean, look, I know we're going into a lot of crazy stuff, but honestly, the point I think you and I can make is that Star Wars is a massive universe where you can tell these types of stories. Do you agree?
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, okay, sure, people love Jedi, Sith, and the Force, like I do, but The Mandalorian basically also proved the point that you can do a Western. I mean, Star Wars Skeleton Crew, a show that for me personally, a show that needs to have more appreciation, honestly, because yes, it is the Goonies in space. But it's still a wonderful story that was told. It has a lot of Treasure Island elements as well, but it was still good. I mean, have you ever watched Skeleton Crew?
Not yet. I have it on my list.
Okay. Then I'm not going to go into details, but basically, as Tom Watts, the man behind Spider-Man, basically he said that Star Wars Skeleton Crew is like the Goonies in space. And for me, I will add that it has a lot of like Treasure Island elements as well. That's all I will say. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So basically, I'm asking, just like you said, I'm asking, great storytelling, like always, or at least interesting, at least that. But most of all, I think it's time that other eras and timelines should be explored. Honestly, so sorry. Go ahead.
I have one more important character that I want to see.
Go ahead.
Wilro Hood.
Oh.
Ice cream! Ice cream!
Well, who knows? Who knows? The door is always open, so who knows?
All right, sorry, you're saying?
No, I was only trying to say that I personally think that stories like The Acolyte and Star Wars Starfighter, I think those two TV shows, I think those two projects, I think will open the door to create stories outside the Skywalker saga.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's again, that's what I'm hoping, that we're going to continue with like this kind of storytelling. Now, there's another question I want to ask you. With Dave Filoni now in charge, when it comes to the creative side of Star Wars, do you think that this is going to be how can I put this? The rising of animation?
I really hope so, and especially too, like we are kind of in an animation renaissance, and not just with Star Wars, but with Spider-Verse really kind of kicked off this whole new renaissance, and we've had some pretty just unique projects ever since. So, and I've kind of been saying this for a while. I would love to see an animated Star Wars film. I mean, I don't know how they would do it, considering like Disney has like maybe 2 or 3 different animation studios, and I mean, I guess Lucasfilm could do it themselves. They would need a really kind of significant budget in order to do it on the screen and stuff. But I would really love to see that, and that too. I would like to like not just like typical CG animation, but like maybe like some type of 2D animation too, and maybe perhaps bring back Genndy Tartakovsky. Maybe.
That's actually that's actually what I was going to tell you. Like, well, if you want to do the animation, go and ask Tartakovsky again.
If you've seen Primal, like he has evolved. Have you seen Primal?
I've heard of it. I've seen some of previous seasons, not the new one. Previous seasons. I've seen some scenes, but I haven't fully watched it.
I've only seen season 1, but it is probably one of the best seasons of animation I've ever watched, because it is like his style has significantly improved from Samurai Jack and the Clone Wars miniseries. And like, imagine like kind of him dipping his toes back into Star Wars, and just, I'm telling you, you will have a masterclass of a show with that.
I'll be honest, like ever since the Hotel Transylvania movies, and have you ever watched Titan AE?
A little bit when it was on Cartoon Network.
Oh, I watched all the episodes, and I will tell you, I'm so pissed off they canceled that show because it's so good. And I will tell you, like ever since projects like this, and I'll be honest, I was never interested before, but I've actually watched Tartakovsky's Clone Wars TV show fully. I watched it, and honestly, even though again his style of animation is unique, but honestly, if he comes back, if Dave Filoni and Lin Brennan they invite Tartakovsky back for like a project, for example, honestly, I wouldn't say no. Honestly, I'll be interested what he's capable of doing. I mean, but I will say this: the only project I have no guts to actually watch is the movie Fixed.
Yeah, that it doesn't look good.
My friend actually, who's also a Tartakovsky fan, he actually said that he watched the movie, and he said that he said that the movie felt like that it felt like Tartakovsky was on drugs when he did Fixed, and that basically alongside him,
that?
what
He directed that?
Oh yes, yeah. He directed Fixed. Let me just a second. I mean, I watched the trailer, and when you see the movie, like yeah, that's definitely Tartakovsky. That's his style. Just a second. Okay. So Tartakovsky, he directed and he wrote Fixed.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and my friend said that he felt like Tartakovsky was on drugs when he was doing this. He was either high or he was like he was either smoking weed, he said, or he was like doing cocaine. And basically, it felt like the movie was made by psychopaths who were obsessed with blood or something. Or like it's crazy. I mean, I'm honestly. He basically told me that not a lot of people will stomach Fixed. Like this is literally an acquired taste, and he told me
I was scarred by watching the trailer.
I mean, I watched the trailer. I watched the rated R one, and I watched the normal one. And honestly, like even just from the normal trailer, I was like, "What the hell am I watching?" And I was like, I mean, okay. I get the story. Okay, I get the story. Like the cruel fate that some dogs get. When they, but and I get it. They want to give him like a final stand or night on the town and everything. Like I get it, but still the things they've done and the way how Tartakovsky did it, I was like, I have some serious questions about this movie. But even with that movie, Genndy Tartakovsky for me, I think like as an animator and storyteller, I think like he's still a genius. And honestly, I would love to see Tartakovsky back. I mean, do you even know that George Lucas actually wanted to give Tartakovsky the chair as CEO of Lucasfilm?
No, but I'm not surprised.
I mean, I read somewhere that he actually wanted Tartakovsky. That he was one of his first choices to be in charge, but unfortunately, Tartakovsky he declined.
Did Tartakovsky say why?
I have to go back to the article, but I think it was something to do again. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think like that it has something to do with like basically having too much. What's the word I'm looking for? Not pressure, having too much, too many duties on his back, basically, on his shoulders.
Okay, yeah, and I see he's a very he's a very artistically driven creator. So yeah. I can kind of see him like be kind of tied down in a way.
Yeah, but again, for the third time, I will say if they invite back Tartakovsky for for a Star Wars project, honestly, I would never say no as well. Honestly, but I will say this for me personally, like when it comes to like, do I think with Dave Filoni in charge, this is going to be like basically animation unleashed. Let's put it that way. No pun intended to the video game. Like I honestly I think it's gonna be sort of. I feel like with Dave Filoni in charge, I think we're gonna see more anime projects, being released from Star Wars, being released on Star Wars. Honestly, because like throughout the years, ever since Kathleen Kennedy was in charge, like we had a few like anime projects and everything, but again, they were very they were like a very small number. Let's just put it that way. They were in a very small number. But with Dave Filoni now, I think we're going to see multiple anime projects. And I will add even this. I would love to see a Star Wars anime. I would love to see that.
Definitely was testing the waters on that.
And honestly, I mean, I believe you know that, but you know that in 2026, we're going to have the Ninth Jedi anime TV show.
Jedi.
Yeah, like the infamous shorts from Star Wars Visions.
Which one was the Ninth Jedi?
What was the name of the little girl? Just a second. Star Wars. It was Star Wars Visions Season 1, Episode 5, the Ninth Jedi, and it also had a sequel in Star Wars Visions Volume 3. But basically, it's a story about like it was about this like young girl who her father was like a lightsaber blacksmith sort of like character, and she was basically pursued by dark forces, which was basically the Sith. And
I don't remember this.
It's like Episode 5. Oh yeah, absolutely. And the guy actually who was in charge of the Ninth Jedi shorts, I think like he's gonna be the one who's gonna write the story for the Ninth Jedi like anime series, and it's going to be a continuation of those two shorts.
That's gonna be amazing. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I mean honestly, when I first heard it was like revealed in Star Wars Celebration, I was like, wait a minute. Is this going to be another short or like an actual series? And then I started reading and I was like, oh my God, we are going to have for the very first time a Star Wars anime series. And literally I was like, just like M. Bison in the Street Fighter anime show. Yes. I was literally going like this. I was like, yes. Because they grant me two wishes from Star Wars Celebration. A villain-centric story, which is Maul Shadow Lord, and an anime series. And I have another idea, which I don't think they're going to do. But what if they could do a Star Wars Elseworld story where basically, it's not canon, it's not Legends, but it's basically a universe where basically they can tell stories whichever they want.
I actually thought about that a while back.
Yeah, because I mean, for example, DC, he has like DC Elseworld stories already existed for like a long time in DC Comics, and that's actually kind of like what brought me to this idea. Like, what if Star Wars has its own like Elseworld stories, where basically, for example, you can't tell the Thrawn trilogy story in canon because it's not possible anymore. But what if you can do that in Star Wars Elseworld, and again, for some people it might be debatable, but what if you can even do it as an anime?
That would be really cool, or like in the style of Clone Wars or something like that,
or maybe even that. Absolutely, So I mean, again, it's highly unlikely that Dave Filoni and Lin Brandon is going to do that, but I feel like a Star Wars Elseworld branch, let's put it that way. I think like it'll be a pretty interesting addition. I mean, what do you think?
I would love to see that too, and and I would like to see maybe kind of kind of like a what if scenario, or just maybe like see something with kind of the characters that we know and love, like the main trio, Chewie, 3PO and R2, and like we see like some type of kind of story with them, and same thing with the prequel characters, and just whatever else the creators of that have up their sleeve.
Okay. One thing I will also add, that one of the projects I would really love to see being made. Now, fingers crossed, May the 4th might actually happen. Who knows? But I want to see the Star Wars Tales series continuing. Like, for example, we had Tales of the Jedi, we had Tales of the Empire, Tales of the Underworld, and honestly, I would love to see a Tales of the Sith. And I have a few ideas what you can do. Now, personally, I know that some people say, "Oh, it's definitely going to be Kylo Ren, and Snoke and everything." Well, technically, Kylo Ren and Snoke, they're not Sith; they're just dark side Force users. But I have two ideas for Tales of the Sith. For example, first 4 episodes, or 3, it depends. First 4 episodes, young Palpatine with Darth Plagueis. You can do that. And the second part, again, connecting with the prequels and everything, you can do a younger days of Darth Maul with Sidious. I think like those two. I think for Tales of the Sith, I think like it will be perfect choices.
I agree.
And I can even see like a Tales of the Bounty Hunter. Yeah, I mean, because besides Boba Fett or Jango Fett or even Cad Bane, I mean, we already had Cad Bane in Tales of the Underworld, but I would love actually see stories about like other bounty hunters who are not that known.
I agree.
Yeah. But my last question for the future of Star Wars. Now, I think we can both agree that I think the time for Star Wars coming back to the theaters is here. Like, look, we're gonna officially start with that finally after so many years. But my question to you is this: do you think after Ahsoka season 2, do you think we could see more Star Wars live action TV shows, or do you think that we're gonna see less of them?
Might get a mix. We definitely might get a mix. I'm as far as the live action shows, I don't know what they're going to do next, because it seems like they're running out a little bit of steam when it comes to the Mandalorian and stuff like that. I mean, they might have some more up their sleeves and stuff. It seems like this movie though is kind of be like maybe like a finale or something like that. Which, I mean, I love Din Djarin. I love that little baby Grogu. And but I feel like their story at least should wrap up.
But do you think in general, live action TV shows, like in general, do you think we will see more of them or less?
Maybe less. And I think less should be, and I think less should be okay. Like, as long, like, I don't want the shows to be coming out every 5 seconds, and I'm pretty sure, like, you're a little big exhausted when it comes to that too. Like, it's the same thing with the MCU and stuff like that, where I think not the same thing, but you know what I mean.
No, I get you. Yeah, I mean, I get it. When you have what was the year when we had like 4 or 5 TV shows coming out, and then there was like 3 or 4 movies. I think it was like 2022 or 2023. I think I'm not sure.
2022 and 2023 were probably like the biggest, mostly because the pandemic halted a bunch of projects and stuff. and then they were trying to release them just so be like, hey, you remember us? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I
I'm
get you. I
like,
get you.
yes, I know the MCU exists. We just got done with the hype of Endgame. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I get you. I get you. Yeah, but I do. Okay, I will say this. I do agree with you that, for example, when it comes to like, I'll give them an example through the MCU. Like, there were times that when they would release a lot of multiple projects in one year, TV shows and movies together. Yes, there were times when I got a little bit exhausted of
it
like
just
how
feels
many
like homework.
things. In a way, yes, yeah, but I will say this. Uh, like when it comes to Star Wars, so far, and that's just my point of view. But when it comes to Star Wars, I didn't get that exhausting feeling. For example, like I did with the MCU sometimes, because it felt like when necessarily with the movies, but even like with TV shows, it really felt like like for example, if you have three projects, for example, or okay, in this case, okay, four with Maul, Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and the Ninth Jedi. The reason why I don't feel exhausted is because like after everyone is done, you have some breathing room, and then the next one comes, and then basically you have a little bit of breathe, and then comes the next one. So in that capacity, like I don't mind, but yeah, in a way, I can also understand your point of view, like that he feels a little bit exhausted. Even though personally, I didn't get affected yet, but I can see it from other people as well. So yeah. I mean, I think like for the future, I think like they should be more calculative or strategic about it.
Mhm.
Like try to give you Star Wars projects, but not like too much. Like to basically get tired of or exhausted, like you said. But so that's why I think with Dave Filoni, everything is going to be calculated. I think everything is going to be strategically released in a way, like because he's not the type of person that I can see basically trying to get the hype down. Like he's not the type of person that he is when it comes to that. But yeah, 100%. Yeah, but yeah, I do get what you mean. For me personally, when it comes to live action TV shows, I think we're gonna see less of them, honestly. And for me personally, I don't think I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. Like I think they're gonna still come live action TV shows. I think they're gonna still be made, but this time, I think with Dave Filoni on board, I think it's gonna be more about quality and like good storytelling instead of like let's green light this, oh let's green light that, oh let's green light this over there, like basically just simply throw things on Disney Plus and everything. I think like we're gonna have less TV shows, but this time I think we're gonna get them with much more bigger quality.
Yeah, and I will kind of give like kind of not credit, but I will kind of see where Kathleen Kennedy is coming from. At the core, she's definitely like, she's a producer and she has to have things on time and punctuality and stuff like that. And she's kind of more towards the kind of corporate side in a way. So I kind of see, and I'm not excusing it and stuff like that, but I kind of see that. And I'm not saying she's absolutely bad for that, but I do see where she's coming from. Dave Filoni is definitely a creative. He has that creative mindset, and so when he puts that self up, all those projects, I'm really hoping, and he'll probably have that right mindset. All these projects have a rhyme or reason, and that's like, and that's what I'm feeling with the DCU, and that's what I'm hoping I'm feeling with this new slate of Star Wars films.
Yeah, I'm absolutely on board with you. on this one, which kind of brings me one thing I kind of forgot to tell about Dave Filoni, which that's another issue that a lot of people have with him. Is that one more fear is that because how Dave Filoni is notorious when he does shows where he's trying to connect everything.
Yes.
I want to ask you this question, and because I want to hear what you think about it. Like, do you always found this as a problem?
I mean, I definitely noticed it. I would say mostly, kind of, but it's nice. But I don't need a reminder that Star Wars is Star Wars. I just want to see, because with the Ahsoka, I get it. It is so tied to the Clone Wars and stuff like that and Rebels that, yeah, you're going to see these characters no matter what. The Mandalorian, however, yeah, I could see Bo-Katan, but, Luke Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano, all these different characters, yeah, it's cool. It's like fan service and stuff like that. It's like stuff that you want to see and you'll get excited. But at the end of the day, it's, the Mandalorian should have kind of stayed just the Mandalorian and, Grogu and stuff like that. Yeah, it has the Empire. It has the, the lore of Mandalore and Beskar and everything like that. And yeah, it has whatever the species Grogu is, which is tied to Baby Yoda and stuff like that, and how they're, presumably all Force sensitive and everything like that. But, when it got to season 3 and stuff like that, and when they were tying just all this stuff into it, it just got really tedious and a little bit just tiresome. And I want these stories to be contained. And, I'm not saying that, a cinematic universe shouldn't be a cinematic universe, but, like I said before, I want there to be a rhyme or a reason.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, look, Dave Filoni, I mean, I know that he's notorious when it comes to connecting things, not just simply with the movies, but also with TV show, with animation as well. For example, I actually recently I gave my father some of the Star Wars TV shows to watch. I gave him Mandalorian, and he liked all 3 seasons. No kidding, he even liked the 3rd one as well. He didn't mind some of the problems that, for example, you and I had. He didn't mind them. And I gave him Ahsoka, but I also told him that I have to warn you that the guy who did Ahsoka connected a lot of things, like, for example, the two anime TV series, Clone Wars and Rebels. So I warned him. When he sees this TV show, I told him there's gonna be a lot of characters that he doesn't know who the hell they are. I was the only one he knew was Anakin Skywalker. That's the only one he knew. But even still, even though, yes, he had questions and he asked me later on, and I explained to him everything that he wanted to know. But even still, my father enjoyed Ahsoka for what it was. For him, this show was enough for him to kind of give an idea who Ahsoka is, who Baylan Skoll is, who Thrawn is. He was. I would say he had simple views on these TV shows, But the one thing I will say is I was happy that he liked them, Now I'm kind of trying to push him to watch animation as well, But that's a little bit tricky. Yeah, but the point of this is that I do agree that not everything should be connected. I do agree that sometimes stories should be self-contained. But again, the Star Wars universe is so big that sometimes, it's inevitable when you have some events, when you have some characters appearing that, that already appeared before, or at least mentioned, it's inevitable.
And I'm not denying it.
No, not even I. Not even I am denying it. But I'm saying that This is something that some people, oh, they shouldn't do this. That is something that it cannot be escaped. You cannot run from it. You will see some connection, But I do agree, even though I love it, I love that Dave Filoni connects everything. But from a different viewer's perspective, I kind of see why for some of them this is annoying, especially for people who haven't watched animation in general when it comes to Star Wars. Which for me, I still think it's a big mistake. Like, people should watch animation as well, but we all love different things. So for me, it's a mix. Like, it's a balance. Like, I don't mind it, but from different viewers' perspective, I get it. But honestly, like Star Wars Skeleton Crew, without giving you spoilers, that is a self-contained story, by the way, where also Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni were like producers. So Dave Filoni can do self-contained stories, 100%. So I do hope that he continues kind of like doing stories that are more self-contained. But again, the perfect way to do it: leave Skywalker Saga and go in different eras. That way you can have loads of self-contained stories, loads of them. Yeah. Now, this also kind of brings me to this, Star Wars Celebration, which of course, if anyone doesn't know, the upcoming Star Wars Celebration 2027 is going to be in Los Angeles. Now, I think you and I both can agree that when it comes to we're not going to see any changes when it comes to Dave Filoni and Lin Brennan. We're not going to see any changes until Star Wars Starfighter is out. And I think personally, I think Star Wars Celebration in 2027, I think it's going to be the perfect timing for them to kind of basically make like a first impression as like co-CEOs of Lucasfilm. I think like that will be the time where like vast new projects under their umbrella basically are going to be announced. I mean, what do you think?
I think so too. And all these studios and stuff like that, and which honestly, it's kind of exciting. Even sometimes like they can announce a slate, like of kind of like a timeline of like where we can see some of these projects and stuff like that.
And I will say this, like I mentioned before, one of Dave Filoni's greatest strength was always the presentation, because like I said, he loves what he's doing. He's full of energy, and he really loves connecting with the fans. I mean, he kind of always reminds me of like that line from the cartoon Megamind when he says, "Oh, you're a villain, all right, just not a super one." And then Titan's like, "Yeah, and what's the difference?" And he comes out, he's like, "Presentation." And I kind of use that in Dave Filoni's case as well. Like, like basically what Kathleen Kennedy was lacking, that Dave Filoni has, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm kind of, okay, this is kind of like a little bit tricky, but I want to ask you, like, do you have a wish list or an idea what kind of projects we might see being announced in 2027?
Honestly, I don't have the highest expectations, not just because I don't believe we can get anything great. It's just kind of hard for me to imagine. But honestly, I hope it's a movie.
Absolutely. I mean,
I want to see more movies.
Absolutely. I do agree with you. Like I said, one of the things I'm really hoping to see is, and again, it's a big shot. It's a long shot, but I'm really hoping that one of the announcements, one or two, I do hope that we're gonna see some Old Republic projects. Mm-hmm. I really hope that, but we shall see. And also one of the things I do hope is we could see more. Either Star Wars anime projects, if the Ninth Jedi becomes successful, and more also villain-centric stories as well. Like that's also one thing I really want to see announced on Star Wars Celebration 2027. But the one thing for certain is that if they want to make a good impression on everyone when it comes to Dave Filoni and Lin Brennan, Star Wars Celebration 2027 is going to be the perfect timing for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like like even though I do believe in Dave Filoni, in Filoni we trust. I'm on board on that, and everything. But again, there's a difference between Filoni believers, like for example you and me, with like millions of other like either casual Star Wars fans or casual viewers, who basically will have doubts when it comes to like someone like Filoni and everything. So I think like Star Wars Celebration 2027 is definitely going to be the perfect stage moment, basically, where they could make a good impression on viewers and other fans and everything. So yeah, I'm really hoping that it could work. I mean, it's really crazy that how some people actually like they're already trying to do a conspiracy where basically they're trying to fire Dave Filoni. Like it's so stupid. Like he didn't even like for God's sake, like I'm even lost for words because I just sometimes I cannot I cannot believe how stupid some people can be. I mean,
nice things because of these fans.
Yeah, I mean exactly. Like and I can tell you right now, like whatever project they're gonna be announced, I'm telling you right now, people are gonna boycott or troll Dave Filoni and his projects. Absolutely. But if those projects actually prove if those projects actually are proven to be good, those same people they're gonna eat their own words.
Yeah.
But we should see. I mean, like I said, I know that Dave Filoni was involved with the Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, The Acolyte, and Ahsoka, and all that. But yeah, 2027 with Star Wars Celebration, it's gonna be like the perfect stage for him to kind of like show everybody who he truly is. And again, I'm really hoping he's gonna do a good impression.
I hope so too. And Filoni,
Absolutely. Now, like one of the last thing I want to mention also is I just want to kind of talk a little bit about the upcoming projects that we're going to have in 2026 and with Star Wars Starfighter in 2027. Okay, so let me start with this. Of the 3 TV shows that we're going to get, Maul Shadow Lord, Ahsoka Season 2, The Ninth Jedi, which one of them are you most excited?
I'd say out of that slate, probably The Ninth Jedi, just because I love Vision so much.
Fair enough. For me, I mean, I always said I love everything Star Wars. Sometimes some of them more, some of them less, but I love all of them. But if I had, honestly, out of all the projects, I'm really excited for Ahsoka Season 2. I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with The Ninth Jedi. Absolutely. But honestly, the TV show I'm really excited about is the one who's kind of like the closest to be released, and that is Maul Shadow Lord. I'm really excited about that show. I watched the teaser trailer. It got me so excited, and I cannot wait because I will say this: out of all the animation that they did, this is going to be the most darkest of all the Star Wars TV shows they ever did.
And the animation looks slick.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they took a lot from the Clone Wars, but there's so many moments it felt like it was hand painted. Especially on Maul, it felt like it was hand painted. Which is cool, absolutely cool. I mean, I agree with you when you said that the Spider-Verse movies they did an amazing impression to animators. Absolutely. Now, I mean, look. Like I said, did you watch Ahsoka Season 1?
I did not.
You should watch that. I mean, I know you had issues. I know you have issues, but you should definitely give it a try.
Honestly, I think I'm gonna put that on my list. I do need to catch up on some Star Wars. So,
absolutely. Also, have you watched everything about the Star Wars Bad Batch?
I watched the first season and a little bit of the second. The third one came out last year, right? Or
No, it was. No, I don't think it was 2025. I think it was in 2024.
2024?
Maybe 2025. I'm not sure. No. Wait, I think it was released in 2024. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, look, like Star Wars: The Bad Batch. Like, is it like something like is it something grand? No, but it still is. It still is so much fun, and I really love a show that is basically centered around the clones.
They're a really just fun group, and I had a fun with them in the first season.
Yeah, I mean, they're basically the A team of Star Wars. I mean, when I watched the first season, I always kind of imagine the Bad Batch. Every time when they go in action, I always kind of in the background, I always kind of imagine the A Team theme song. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, for me, so I'm gonna go with Molo Shadow Lord. Now, for the movies, I mean, I think I already know your answer, but which one of the movies are you most excited about? Like Starfighter in 2027 or Mandalorian and Grogu?
I'm really excited for the Mandalorian and Grogu, and I definitely want to see kind of like a finale with with both of those characters, and Sigourney Weaver. I mean, who doesn't love Sigourney Weaver?
Absolutely.
However, though, Starfighter, just because, I mean, what's the director's name? Sean
Levy, I think it is pronounced.
Sean Levy, yes. Yeah, I like some of his projects, and Free Guy, I mean, I had fun with. It wasn't anything, really special, but it was a really just fun time. And, the story that they're setting up with seems really unique, and it has a decent cast, and like that's just kind of like, and they're bringing in like the Jedi in it in some way, and also too, Tom Cruise. You probably heard this. Tom Cruise was operating a camera in a swamp, I believe, which is
something like that, yeah.
Which is really odd, but really exciting.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I think like maybe you and I will be on board on this, but I mean, for example, having Tom Cruise play in Star Wars, I mean, that would be awesome. I mean, come on.
Oh, I know, and
I think he'll be open for it.
Oh no, definitely. As long as he gets to do his own stunts.
Yes.
By the way, I am so excited for Digger this year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a very interesting trailer, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so far we only had a teaser, but I'm really kind of curious to see him wear makeup again.
Yeah, definitely. Especially like kind of like Tropic Thunder. I want him to, as far as like him in Star Wars, he should just wear a crap ton of prosthetics and be like a and be like a crime lord or something like that.
Honestly, here's the thing. I can definitely see Tom Cruise begging whoever is the director. I can definitely see Tom Cruise begging or demanding that he has a lightsaber. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, that would be so much fun.
And I will say one more thing before we end this live stream. There is one director I highly doubt that Lucasfilm will ever work with him because of the budget, and that is James Cameron.
That'll be so much fun, though.
But I don't think they're open to give him over like $400 million as a budget for a Star Wars movie. I don't think that they will give him that amount.
However, though, we might get a Star Wars in a way with the Avatar franchise, because I heard that they're Cameron's open to kind of exploring new planets. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, basically, he did say that he wants to make Avatar as kind of like his own Star Wars, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, James Cameron directing an actual Star Wars movie, that would be really cool. But again, I highly doubt that Disney was going to give him such a gigantic budget. But yeah, I think it would be cool. Now, the thing is, like, I think I shared this news with you. Like, I think you remember that Dave Filoni, he was supposed to direct the kind of like the overall Mandoverse finale movie, where they're basically fighting a Grand Thrawn. I think you should also know this news, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this movie basically is supposedly this movie was put on the back burner. Now, when I say back burner, that doesn't mean it's canceled. It simply means that it's been postponed or delayed, basically. Because I think that the reason why is because I think like that they're waiting to see for the Mandalorian Grogu as a movie to be successful. Because if the Mandalorian Grogu is successful, then I think they will allow Dave Filoni to direct the Mandoverse finale movie. Because I've read somewhere, now I don't know if this is true, but I read somewhere that if it's not successful, they're gonna turn it into like a limited series, basically.
Yeah.
But honestly, whatever they do, I'll be fine with it. Honestly, But I this time I kind of doubt that Dave Filoni will direct it. I think like Dave Filoni might write the script, but I don't think he'll direct it because he's now co-CEO, so I don't think he'll direct the movie. But maybe he'll find someone else to do it. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, James Gunn directed Superman, so you never know.
Yeah, and oh my God, if those rumors are true, that he might he might end up directing Batman the Brave and the Bold. I'll be like, you'll become crazy because there's a rumor going around the Twitter that after he's done with Man of Tomorrow, that he actually might end up directing Batman.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I know, people have their reservations about Andy Muschietti and stuff like that. And yeah, I kind of want to see a different, maybe like have Andy Muschietti for something else, but but I do want to see like kind of like a different vision for Batman and Brave and Bold. But this isn't a Batman Brave and this isn't a DC, even though we've talked about DC plenty of times in this live stream.
Yeah.
By the way, go see Supergirl this June in theaters.
If you don't want to do it for Supergirl, at least do it for Lobo, so we can get more Lobo in the DC universe.
Oh, and Crypto. You can't forget Crypto the Super Dog.
Absolutely. And after that, for dessert, you're going to get later in the summer, Lanterns.
Coming to HBO this summer.
Oh, yeah. I think like Warner Bros. Should hire us for like commercials. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, like, honestly, I want to ask you this question. Do you think The Mandalorian Grogu will be successful?
I mean, there's enough space, and it depends. I mean, summer blockbuster season, it's going to be a pretty packed summer. I mean, May, there's not going to be anything from the MCU in May. So I think they'll get a little bit of a chance. Do you remember if there's anything else coming in May?
Let me check. I think there are maybe a few things, but let me check. Just a second. Let me see. Besides The Mandalorian and Grogu, let me see what else comes out in May.
Devil Wears Prada.
Let me just check. Okay, May, April. Okay, so we have The Devil Wears Prada 2. We have Animal Farm. We have the
movie looks so weird.
Oh my God! Like Seth Rogen voicing Napoleon. I mean, that is just weird on that. Okay, let me see. Mortal Kombat 2, which is on May 8th. Let me see. Session, Mandalorian Grogu, I Love Boosters, Tuner, Passenger. Honestly, besides Mortal Kombat 2, The Devil Wears Prada 2, and maybe Animal Farm. No, actually, with the exception of Mortal Kombat 2 and Devil Wears Prada 2, honestly, there is not so much. There's not too many like competition against
No,
the
so
Mandalorian
it's just
Grogu.
if people want to see it, which I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of hype, but I think Star Wars fans will show up.
Yeah, and honestly, look, I don't think the Mandalorian Grogu. I don't think it will reach like $1 billion or something. But I do think I do believe they will break even. I think like
I think so too.
yeah, I think like you might earn around maybe 500 to 600 million.
Yeah, I think it will at least make its budget.
Yeah, because I don't think they revealed the budget. Let me just check.
I mean, it's
I-
definitely going to be expensive. I don't think it's $1 billion movie, but
No, I know they didn't reveal the budget, but I kind of my bet is I think that the budget might be around 150 to 200 million dollars. I think when it comes to the budget, maybe it's over 100 million. I don't know, but I think it's around 150 to 200. But the point is that I can definitely see them. I don't think the movie is going to reach $1 billion, which of course we all do. We all do want for Mandalorian and Grogu to achieve that. But I think my prediction, I think it's going to be around 500 million and $600 million. I don't think it's going to flop. I think it's going to earn enough to be called a success.
all right.
I mean, what number do you think it will reach?
Probably around the same, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I will even push a little bit further. I would say $700 million max. 700. But I'm between 500 and 600. Yeah, but overall, like, look, I mean, Jon Favreau is directing. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, they wrote the script, for this movie. So that already for me is a big plus that I kind of doubt that it will flop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
and
mean,
Seb's gonna be in it, and I know how I said about kind of the fan service and stuff like that, but I mean, I love Seb, so I can't wait.
yeah, and one bonus question: Do you think Thrawn might appear in Mandalorian Grogu as a cameo?
Maybe.
Yeah, because I think it's set after Ahsoka season 1, so I think like Thrawn might actually maybe appear in it, but who knows? Who knows? With all being said, do you have any more to add?
No, but I want to thank you for having me on again, and it was
Pleasure.
always a pleasure talking Star Wars with you.
Absolutely. But one thing for certain, with Dave Filoni and Lin Brennan being the new leadership of Lucasfilm, it brings excitement. But as I said, it brings also a lot of questions. And the last thing I will say, I am basically fingers crossed. I'm hoping they're going to be successful and they're going to make a good image of themselves as the new CEOs of Lucasfilm. Absolutely. Yeah, and with that being said, we have finished another Shadow Council episode. Second time's a charm. Do you have any more to say?
No?
Okay. I just want to be sure. Yeah. So with that being said, we have reached another end to another Shadow Council episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed our overall Star Wars conversation about Dave Filoni and Lin Brennan being the new leadership, the overall future of Star Wars and everything. All of your comments about what you think about Dave Filoni and Lin Brennan being the co-CEOs of Lucasfilm, the future of Star Wars, what kind of projects do you wish to see, Star Wars Celebration 2027, everything about this topic in general, just put it in the comment section down below. And as always, comment, like, subscribe. You guys know the drill. And until then, stay tuned for more. And as always, Lord of Shadows signing off.
Peyton/Fulcrum signing off.
See you guys next time, or more importantly, may the Force be with you.
Always.